I've also been trained by Quebec's master luthier Michel Pellerin. Master. I don't call him master all day, but he is. What sets my approach apart from other luthiers in the field is my interest in sound physics and human interaction. So sound physics allows me to understand a piece of wood. I use chladni patterns to understand the vibrations of the wood. Chladni patterns is the process you've probably seen of putting sand on the surface and having it vibrated and it creates shapes. So those shapes give me information that, it says how rich a piece of wood is gonna resonate. It completely changed how I build a guitar. It's like I used to follow my intuition a lot. Now I have numbers. I have a clearer vision of where I'm heading when I'm making a guitar for someone. So yeah, when I personalize a guitar, I like to use the best materials available. The sound physics part of it allows me to be much more precise in understanding the piece of wood. So you want it to be light, you want it to be resonant. That's something that my hands and my ears can get, but I want to go much deeper than that when we're talking about crafting a high-end personalized guitar. So sound physics is basically understanding the mechanical properties of a piece of wood. Its density, its elasticity. The other important data is the sound radiation coefficient, and this is how rich a piece of wood is gonna ring. I think the most expensive soundboard I bought in my life, I tested it after that I learned this process, and it just had a terrible sound. So I knew that if I were to spend a year building a guitar with that piece of wood, sure, it was pretty, but it would not have been up to my standard. It doesn't mean that it would not have been the right guitar for a musician, but it would have been harder to find that person. I've also been trained by Quebec's master luthier Michel Pellerin, and we worked together on honing my skills in soundboard voicing, the braces voicing. And master. I don't call him master all day, but he is. Michel learned from Irvin Somaji in California, and Irvin is one of the leading experts in acoustic guitar voicing. And to get the tools that this master luthier developed over time added to the sound physics understanding of the wood, just brought my guitars to another level. Yeah, so a common way to offer an instrument to a musician is, I have this tone wood combination, this guitar model that fits this style. I think that would be a good fit for you. And that can work. The thing is, it can be an amazing guitar. It's just that, to me, the value of a handmade guitar is not only within the sound quality per se, within the ease of play. It's about how the musician connects with his instrument. And if I offer you a menu and you choose what you like, it's gonna sound great, but it's not gonna be specifically crafted for you. So I like to take the time to see how to tweak the details to make it fit just like a glove. So when I start discussing a custom build with a musician, I like to ask him or her to send me a video of how the fingers touch and make the strings vibrate, how they play guitar. There's a lot of values in that video for me, because I can see the energy required to make the soundboard vibrate. So with my knowledge in sound physics, I can see what would be the ideal soundboard to fit with this specific type of fingers playing the strings, and to make the perfect match to make a guitar that resonates with the musician. What I also like to ask is, What instrument do you play today, and why is it not fulfilling your needs? And this paints a picture of your musical style, personality, and from there, people usually have one or two ideas. Like, I like mahogany, or I like to play fingerstyle. And we start from there, like, okay, mahogany, why? And we go through everything that's great about mahogany and how will it fulfill your musical experience. And I like to talk about tone woods a lot, but over time I realized that it's much more about the playing style of the musician. So if you play with the fingers, if you play with a pick, if you like to strum heavy chords, these are going to change a lot the instrument I'm going to make for you. So the energy that is delivered to the string, to me, is the number one factor. It changes the string length, the string tension I'm going to choose, and then we're going to decide the size of the body, and after that we're going to put in the tone woods. All of these elements are crucial to make a good acoustic guitar, and it's in understanding where the musician comes from that allows me to make a personalized guitar. I've made quite a few guitars that sound great, and there's a trap in thinking that this is what every person needs. I think a good guitar maker is able to listen and to question his own process in order to serve the musician better. And this is at the core of the interaction between the musician and his instrument. To me, the meaning in building guitars comes from the magical moments some musicians allow us to see and to live. And those moments come from the interaction between the musician and the audience. And this interaction starts with the connection between the musician and his guitar. And that's where I come in. My grandfather was a cabinet maker. He taught me at a very young age that crafting something unique is a way to show someone you care. And this is how I see the work I do for a musician, is crafting something unique with the person in mind, and create a tool that is gonna help him or her to do something he was not able to do before. I've met a builder once that told me, when someone sees a handmade guitar, they're moved in a way that we can't always explain. And I was listening and I was like, yeah, you're right, I can't explain it either, but I've seen this before. And his understanding of the situation was like, it comes from your hands. You've spent months crafting something and touching it and pouring your soul into that guitar neck, It's intangible, we don't know it, but we can feel it coming out of the instrument. There's something very different when you're in front of a handmade guitar compared to a guitar that's, the copy of the 200 that were made the same day. So yeah, that's what I'd say. My grandfather was a very loving man. He's still alive, so he is a loving man, and caring, and he likes to work not for what he gets in exchange. He likes to work because he likes to add value to others. To me, it was obvious that this was the way towards a meaningful life. Because living for money is not fulfilling to me. But to craft something with your hands and to have an impact on people's life. This is what my grandfather showed me he was doing, and I didn't realize that at the time. I was 14 and I was thinking of what I'm gonna do after high school, and the guitar making program was newly offered. I just visualized myself working in the calm workshop by myself, carving a guitar neck, and I thought, looks fun. So I was talking with musicians, Jay Scott is his name, and he wanted a small size acoustic guitar that would be fun to carry around, but also that had a big and satisfying sound. So I came up with the B1 model, which is a model I'm excited to launch in 2024. This is the guitar I got right here. So the sound box is a little shorter than my flagship model, but the width is standard, is close to what we're used to see. And the specific small size of the guitar is enhanced with the shorter scale. So the length of the string is 24 inch, and instead of joining it to the 14th fret, I joined the neck at the 13th fret. We usually see either 14 or 12. The problem with 14 was the bridge was a little too high, and at the 12th fret the bridge was a little too low. And if you want to have a soundboard that vibrates as efficiently as possible, you want the bridge to be located towards the center of the vibrating plate. Think of when you're playing drums, you don't want to hit the side of the top, you want to hit right in the middle. So that's the same thing for an acoustic guitar. He approached me when his career was like being taken to new heights, so he just started to do a lot more shows and studio recording and stuff. And he realized that the guitar he really liked was just not delivering the sound quality that was expected from a touring musician. And so that was when he felt like he needed to up his game and to get something that he had an idea of what he had in mind, but he also realized that there was a lot more we could personalize to make it a better fit. And we had a discussion, I think it was 3 weeks ago, we talked about it, and he was telling me how excited he was that it's almost like he knows it's gonna impact its creative process, and he's excited to have kind of an enhanced sensitivity filter added to his songwriting process. So I'm looking forward to see what's gonna come out of this one. Since Jay Scott is a singer, first I realized I had to figure out a way to avoid the frequencies that the voice produces. And that often means a maple back and side, which can be a little too closer to the tone of the voice. Being a small guitar, the B1 can't produce too much high frequencies, so we want to EQ the sound by selecting warmer woods. This is black limba or corina. It was used on Flying V's made by Gibson in the 50s, and it looks spectacular, and it has the sound of, it almost has the sound of mahogany, so it sounds really warm. So a guitar that's tiny will naturally want to produce higher frequencies, and a warmer sounding back will help to even it out a little more. This is a hair brighter than mahogany. Mahogany is probably the warmest back and side because it's about density. So density of mahogany is very low compared to other woods used for back and side. and the resonance of black limba is really close to mahogany. This design was made for Jay Scott. He's a musician that likes to play with small instruments, sometimes ukuleles too, and he wanted to have a small guitar that has a big sound, and so I came up with this design for him. I do appreciate the traditional design of an acoustic guitar, but I'm not in that category. I like to have a little more modern approach to the design aspect of it. I don't like square-shaped dreadnought. I can appreciate them, but I like to design the shape of the guitar as being a little more fluid. I think this is something that's interesting for younger musicians to have a breath of fresh air in a new design, and yeah, it just feels natural to connect with those musicians that embrace a modern approach to design. When you've done something over and over, you like how it's done, people like it, you can lose a part of what makes the process exciting and all of that. So the traditional design, the square headstock, it works, but guitars are about having fun, and to me, a generic guitar, like the shape I've seen hundreds of times, to me it just takes away some of the fun. So I like to add, I like to give myself the permission to do things a little differently and to have fun with it. And I feel like younger musicians do connect with something that's a little different that we're used to see. Have nothing against the traditional dreadnought shape, but I'm an artist and I do create tools for artists, so I feel like, yeah, giving myself the permission to do things a little differently just makes sense for me. The traditional way to make guitars is fine, but it's the way I see it, it's not because it was done like that for 100 years that it makes it the best way that we can do it today. Technology changes, we got new materials. Yeah, there's a ton of different ways to push the guitar sound further. I don't just follow a plan that's known to work fine. I like to add some microphones to record what I craft and to adapt the voicing of an instrument to the latest technology in order to have more control over what I offer to a musician. Headstocks are very hard to design because it feels like every shape has been done before, and you gotta somehow find your way to do it. And the shape of my headstock was designed by keeping in mind the balance of points of interest and the rest. It's like a good photo, a good picture has a balance between light and shade. To me, it's the same thing. So if there's a straight line, you gotta balance it somehow with the point of interest. So we could see the curve of the top of the headstock as points of interest. It's gotta be balanced somehow. So you wanna have some elements, but not too much of them. And it's gotta have like an interesting shape, a balanced shape on top of that. So it's very hard, but when I came with that design, I was really excited because I was scratching my head for a few days and it just came out. I drew it and I wasn't sure, to be honest, if I liked it. I felt like I liked it, but my younger self wanted to have opinions about it, and I asked trusted artists friends, and they were like, yeah, they were not sure. Actually, I think they were too polite to say they didn't like it. And I was like, yeah, okay, thank you for your opinion, but I like it a lot. So I sticked with it, and I get a lot of good comments about my headstock. So yeah. And the rosette, I designed, I changed it a little bit. I used to have a narrower line, and I wanted to redo it a little bit. The idea behind the rosette is a broken circle. So when I was designing the rosette, it was at the same time that I was designing the headstock. So it was a lot of creativity required, and I was trying to have an idea, and I was like, you gotta break the circle of what everyone's doing, and it popped like a broken circle. Is I didn't want to step away from the circle itself, because the circle works. The human eye likes the circle, so I wanted to keep it, but to add the touch, I thought the best way to break it was to just open it at one spot, and I had the idea to put a line in there. And while I was debating what would be the ideal angle, I was twisting it around, and I noticed like it's not just a circle with a line. To me, it's more like a compass that's pivoting, and the idea of a compass is also something that's dear to me, because guitars can help people to go through tough moments in their lives, and I feel like a guitar can be a tool to help you find yourself when you're going through a hard time, and the idea of a compass just makes sense in that situation. So the design of my rosette was named after this idea, so it's the compass. The ergonomic aspect of a guitar is very important. So the idea behind the Manzo wedge is to make the side here narrower and a little wider over here, so when you're holding the guitar it feels like it's thinner. The advantages of that is it's more comfortable, but you don't reduce the air volume, so you don't affect the sound of the instrument, compared to the armrest that's like reducing the vibrating area of the soundboard. So the armrest is something I really like to do, but it changes how a guitar sounds a little bit, and the Manzo wedge doesn't. So guitars become more sophisticated over time with the tools we get. The thing is, I was talking to a musician about a specific guitar model, and I was asking how he felt some details would impact his use of a specific guitar, specifically the B1, which is a smaller and shorter scale. And he mentioned it would probably be a guitar that would be a good fit for a studio recording, or just to play in the living room. And when he mentioned the studio recording, I flashed, because I use the same tools as a sound engineer in studio recording while I'm carving the braces. The evolution of the guitar is parallel to the evolution of the musicians. People have studios at home now, and they have high quality tools to hear the sound of an instrument and to make it shine. Luthiers have to adapt to that, and this is why I have a microphone, I have a recording program, and it gives me a lot more information from a guitar, and it's basically EQing. When I record the sound that the guitar produces, I will see too much of that specific frequency, and I will carve the braces in order to EQ it to have it a little more even. And in the end, the musician gets the frequency charts that he records. I've been tweaking with that all along the building process, so it's an added tool. It's a new tool that's adding to the musical experience. handmade guitars can seem like a lot of money. The fact is, spending a couple grand on an imperfect guitar and to sell it and to buy another one that's also not exactly right for you, and to buy and to sell and to buy and to sell. Over time, you spend up more money than if you go to a specialized craftsperson that makes one personalized for you. So that's one thing. And the other is, I think life has the potential to be a little boring sometimes. And if we allow ourselves to have some fun, it changes everything. But choosing a handmade guitar is something that requires a permission that you give yourself. And it can be frightening, it can be misunderstood by people around you, but if you do that, well, your life gets more exciting. I don't know if there's something more meaningful than to have a passion that you live to the fullest. It's a lot of work. It's crazy amount of work, but I wouldn't change anything for the world.